What's going on? I'm relationship expert Terry Duran, and today I'm going to be talking about men that date significantly younger women. I got a question that was sent to me by a teenager, and so I just decided that I would go, elaborate on the topic or whatnot. Now, let me go ahead and just read the situation so y'all can get the context of what I'm talking about. All right, so the initial question to me was, okay, so yesterday my friends with benefits was like, oh, we should date. She was like, it was weird and I didn't know how to react, so I didn't say anything. Then he added, maybe in 5 years if you want, and in parentheses, because I'm 18, still in school, and he's 30 and has a full-time job. And I was like, all right, okay, maybe. Then he said that I should go on dates with other guys to make him jealous. Why does he want me to make him jealous? We've been friends with benefits for 2 years. He has a lot of dates, but isn't interested in the girls he meets. So I immediately saw through the bullshit story that he's feeding her. A 30-year-old man that is involved with the 18-year-old for 2 years means that this grown-ass man has been fucking a teenager for 2 years. No quality dude is going to be doing it. That is a lame guy's behavior. A man that is fucking a teenager that is half his age. Now, it's different if you 40 and you fucking a 30-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, you dealing with a grown woman, but this is particularly talking about men that date teenage women, right? For starters, that's the indication that he's a lame and something is off about his personality or his behavior, right? Which is why he's telling her some silly shit like, go out with other dudes so you can make me jealous. Like, what kind of logical thought is that? Hey, you go do this so I can be jealous and get mad and we can argue over it. Like, that's a totally idiotic train of thought. But for a man to be primarily dating a teenager, I think y'all are only friends with benefits because he doesn't want you to be his girl and have to take you places and shit like that. So that would explain why y'all are friends with benefits. But if you're if a man, it's one thing, right? For a man to meet a chick and she's lying about her age. She's 16, but she done got a fake ID, so she's in an adult club and y'all drinking and shit like that, and you find out that she's a teenager or whatnot, right? That's completely different. For a man to knowingly date a teenager, that says a lot about his status among other men. That means that he's struggling to get the women in his age group and his dating pool to choose to fuck with him. And there's usually a good reason why. He's lame, his conversation's lame, the way he sees shit is lame. There's something off about him that's making him struggle with the women that he should be chasing after, right? And so when a man is doing this, their reasoning for targeting younger women makes sense. He's 30 with a full-time job. She's 18 in high school. If he can't compete with some 18-year-old boys in high school, you know what I'm saying, or some 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds that are freshmen or sophomores in college with his resources, he's really fucking lame. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have his own place. He should have his own car. He has you know what I'm saying? Like, he can take her on vacation. Well, she's 16. He can't do none of this shit yet. But he can feed her a dream. He should be a lot more mature than her. He obviously has a lot more life experience than her. So there are reasons that they target these women because it gives them a position of power. They can seem like the shit. They can pretend to be swag. They can pretend to be popping. You know what I'm saying? To a teenage girl that's 16 or 17. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the difference. Now, if you dating somebody, I think most people on in general, men are typically older than women. But it's usually within a couple of years, 3 to 5 year age range. And it's like I'm almost 3 years older than my wife. So you dating somebody that's a couple of years older than you, that's totally normal. A 16-year-old dating an 18-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like a 17-year-old dating a 19-year-old. Like, that's typically normal. When you are a teenager and you are still in high school and you got a grown man that, because in order to be fucking you for 2 years, y'all have to be communicating on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have to be interacting on a regular level. What does a grown man have in common with a girl in high school? Outside of physical attraction and sex. You know what I mean? Like, that's why it's illegal for men to do this to a 16-year-old girl. Because it is predatory. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's putting himself... Now, even though you consent to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously you don't have an issue with it, but your parents will. Your parents find out you've been fucking a 30-year-old for 2 years, they're going to have a serious problem with that. You know what I mean? So, that's the issue, and that's why it's not respected among men. Like, if you can't get women that are... Like, if you a 30-year-old dude, you should be popping with cougars, women that are older than you, women that are in your age bracket, and women that are younger than you. If you are a 30-year-old man that got your shit popping. Period. Your range of women that you are able to date is significantly... That's when you a man is at his prime, really. You can appeal to the younger women like you that in a couple years will be 21, 22 in the bars. If you just want to go young. If you want to go young, you can get some chicks in their young 20s. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you have to have standards and morals. And so for a guy to be doing this is lame. And I'm pretty sure that you can probably sense that he's lame as well. So now, obviously, physically, a teenage girl can look like a grown woman. You know, we call them R. Kellys. You know what I mean? Like, with teenagers with a real big booty. Like, even when I was a teacher, that's one of the reasons I taught in middle school. Because during the teacher training, they gave us all these warnings about how teenage girls can't be around attractive men, and fellas, be careful, and you know what I'm saying, like, don't do this and don't do this. And I'm like, man, y'all ain't got to worry about me trying to smash no teenage girls. That's the way I'm looking at it. But now that I see, you know, how things are when it comes to teenage girls, because my wife also taught at a high school, and she taught at a couple of different high schools in Houston, and she taught at a very, very hood school in Houston called Wheatley. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's in 5th Ward, Texas. Like, this is a very, very typical hood school, right? Well, there was a law that George Bush passed called No Child Left Behind, what basically said that you can't kick a person out of school until I think they're 22. Either 21 or 22. You know what I'm saying? So if they can show up the first month of school and then just not come the rest of the year, and if they show up next school year and register, you got to let them in. So my wife, she's in her she's 25, 26 teaching. She got students that's 21 years old. She see these motherfuckers at the club. They got apartments. They got cars. They got kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, even in middle school, I had 16 and 17-year-old 8th graders. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so just think about that dynamic. You got a 17-year-old dude in middle school with 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old girls. They on his dick. Heavy. You know what I'm saying? He's the fighter. He's getting suspended. That's why he's fucking 17 in 8th grade. He's selling dope. He smoked weed. He skipped school. So he's turning out these 13, 14, 15-year-old girls. He eating pussy. He talking them into sucking dick. They texting on apps. They on Facebook. That's how, like, the sexual environment at middle school was. So you can imagine what it's like at high school. You know what I mean? But that's different. Teenagers fucking teenagers. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you get to being especially a male adult actively pursuing and targeting teenage women, man, that's as lame as it get. You know what I'm saying? Like, you one level above fucking rapists. You know what I'm saying? Like, taking it against their will, because that's such a disadvantage for a girl. Y'all know how easy. If grown women fall for sweet nothings and being told what they want to hear, what in the hell do you think happens when a grown man with making 40, 50K with a real job is pursuing a teenager? And he can take her out to eat, and he can do this, and he can make her promises, and he can buy her shit that her parents may not be able to get her. He can give her money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why he looked like he the shit from her eyes, from her perspective. So I just wanted to shed some perspective on it, on why it's so frowned upon from a male perspective and why it's so lame. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I get it. 16, you old enough to be fucking. I was in the army at 17. You know what I mean? So I'm not no hypocrite where I'm not gonna act like you're just too young to make decisions. Like, that's not it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always told my students, like, look, y'all 14, 13, 14 years old. Y'all old enough to have sex. Y'all old enough to have kids. Y'all old enough to go to jail. And y'all old enough to get killed in the streets. So we're not going to do the candy coating, I'm going to treat y'all like babies type. I'm not that type of teacher. So my stories, my reading stories, my examples was so 100. That's why I was their favorite teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I kept it real with them. Like, I talked to them about college and why you don't need to be in the streets. Why it's way better to be the dude that go to college. Getting on my nerves like, fool, you going to be the dude that's popping in a luxury car. Just don't let them get you to think that it's not cool to be smart. So I was able to relate to a lot of them and give them perspective on how things really are in the real world. And most of them never. That's why, I mean, I still got students that still fuck with me to this day. They in their 20s now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I taught a long time ago, but that's what happens when you have a real quality teacher that can actually relate to the kids. They get in trouble with another kid, they ask to come to my class. You know what I'm saying? Like, they threatening other teachers and acting a fool. They one of my best students. I'm like, oh man, for real? You going to the alternative school? Like, I couldn't. It's just a different level of respect when they relate to you and they can tell you real. So I just wanted to elaborate on it and provide some context on the topic. I don't usually get questions about situations like this, so I felt it was a real teachable moment, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the topic and provide some thought-provoking conversation. So I appreciate everybody tuning in.